Hello, how are you? Many people in their 40s, 50s, or older tell me that they start to feel muscle pain very frequently. Leg pain, shoulder pain, back pain. Sometimes it seems like any effort, no matter how simple, climbing stairs, tidying something up at home, organizing something, will cause pain the next day. And then people say, it's fine, this happens, it's normal, it comes with age. But that's not really the case. In most cases, it's different. There are things that sabotage your daily life and can make this pain worse for you. And there are changes you can make to your diet and your lifestyle that can help you. I'm sure you're going to love this video. Stay until the end because you won't want to miss it. Before we start, I want to ask you if you feel pain. Is there any pain that happens more often for you? Back pain, shoulder pain, arm pain, leg pain? What hurts the most in your body? Write it for me down below in the comments. If you can, please give this video a like. It really helps me out. And share this video with someone who will enjoy it and with those who need it. Let's expand this chain of kindness. That's what I want here with the channel. Before we start talking about muscle pain, it's important for us to understand, what is this pain? Why do so many people suffer from pain like this in their daily lives? Of course, there can be countless causes, right? But I've separated the main ones for you here. First, for sure, it has to do with stiffness, chronic tension, people who are very stressed, have poor posture, and move very little, which reduces local circulation. They may have pain more related to these issues. There are also people who have pain related to inefficient recovery. In other words, they sleep little, eat poorly, have poor hydration, don't hydrate well, and all of this makes cellular repair harder, which can also cause muscle pain. There's also the issue of aging. It's hard to talk about aging at 40 or 50 years old. I'm not calling anyone old, but the body is aging. And with that, we experience a gradual loss of muscle mass, of muscle function as well, so there's a natural tendency towards sarcopenia, and this sarcopenia can also lead to muscle pain. And there's also the issue of diet, of mineral imbalance. Magnesium, potassium, they're involved in muscle contraction and relaxation. When their levels are inadequate, they can cause stiffness, cramps, a feeling of locking up, a more persistent pain. Lastly, and not less important, there are some continuous use medications that can cause muscle pain. Of course, the idea here is never to stop taking medication on your own, but if you started taking a cholesterol medication and began to feel muscle pain, it's important that you talk to your doctor. Say, "Doctor, after I started taking this medication, I've been experiencing this side effect," because they might be able to adjust the dose or the type or the active ingredient so you don't continue to have this negative effect on your body. Never stop taking medication on your own. That can be dangerous for you, but if the medication is causing you more harm, right? Giving you more side effects, it's very important that you communicate this. So let's start by talking about the 5 main mistakes that many people make, which can worsen this issue of muscle pain. The first one for sure has to do with consuming too little protein and thinking that everything is fine. This is one of the main mistakes, especially as we get older. We tend to lose a bit of the desire to eat so much meat. And we know that protein is closely related to muscle building and anabolic resistance. So people who consume little protein on a daily basis have slower recovery and more pain after even simpler activities. They may experience a more pronounced loss of muscle mass over time and a greater feeling of weakness or heaviness in the body. So it's not that you need to consume more protein than necessary, but rather ensure that you are eating protein throughout your day, and at least the minimum required, which is usually about 0.5 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So it's actually a pretty manageable amount for you to consume in your daily routine. The second problem is ignoring the issue of minerals and hydration. Like I mentioned to you about magnesium, potassium, sodium. So it's important that we consume foods rich in these essential nutrients, because when they are lacking or out of balance, they can increase muscle stiffness, increase cramps, worsen that feeling of tight, locked muscles, and make recovery worse. This can get worse with age because many people tend to drink less water, eat fewer vegetables and seeds, and often take ongoing medications that can alter these electrolytes and mineral balance. So remember to ensure a good intake of them. Magnesium is very much associated with chocolate, 70% or more, 100% cacao, pumpkin seeds. Potassium is closely related to coconut water, bananas, and even cocoa powder itself. And sodium, which we already have in our diet, but everything is about balance. So it's not that you should consume more sodium, but just remember the other minerals as well, which are important for you. Another mistake is when someone consumes a lot of sugar, a lot of ultra-processed foods, is within the normal weight range, and thinks, it's fine, I'm at a healthy weight. I don't need to worry about my diet because I'm not gaining weight. I'm able to control my calories. But there's a very important point. When we consume a lot of sugar, a lot of ultra-processed foods, a lot of refined flour that quickly turns into sugar, this can increase low-grade chronic inflammation, worsen insulin resistance, make you feel heavier, and lead to poorer muscle recovery. So that's what I always say. Weight is not synonymous with health. There are many people out there who are within the ideal weight range, but their metabolic and inflammatory health is out of balance. So remember, a balanced diet is absolutely essential. Another mistake is failing to take into account medications that can cause muscle pain. So, statins used to control cholesterol, diuretics for blood pressure and heart conditions, and the continuous use of corticosteroids can all potentially lead to muscle pain over time, especially when used for long periods. Once again, I'm not telling you to ever stop taking medication on your own, but rather, if you've started taking a new medicine and you have muscle pain, it's important to talk to your doctor. Another mistake is related to feeling muscle pain and deciding to stay more inactive, thinking the pain will go away, or doing less exercise. This ends up becoming a snowball effect because when you stay inactive for too long, you get worse. Your circulation worsens, muscle stiffness increases, you sleep poorly because you were too inactive, and you have pain. So all of this just makes things worse. Ideally, you should keep up with your daily activities and try to stay active. If you can't do physical exercise like going for a walk or any targeted exercise, at least try to stay active by doing your daily activities as much as possible to keep moving. Use those muscles as gently as you can to stimulate circulation, help eliminate toxins, and so on. So let's talk about 3 changes you can add to your daily routine to help you out. Of course, we should start by talking about nutrition, right? When it comes to muscle recovery, what can help you? First of all, enough protein, as I mentioned. Eggs, yogurt, and if you can, whey protein or some kind of protein powder to help you. More meat, chicken, fish, legumes, all of these will help you a lot because protein is the building block of muscle. When we have less protein, it's harder for the muscle to recover, grow, and to function properly. The second thing is electrolytes, as I mentioned before. Magnesium, potassium. Pay attention to how much sodium you consume daily and make sure to stay hydrated. When we think about electrolytes, we think about these minerals, but water is essential. So maintaining good hydration is also essential for all of this to work well within your muscles and to reduce this issue of the pain as well. And another thing is to try to reduce pro-inflammatory foods, ultra-processed foods, foods that are very high in sugar, sweets, foods that behave like sugar, white flour, white bread, white pasta. All of this in excess can increase chronic inflammation in our bodies, worsen pain, and increasing the intake of minimally processed natural foods, healthy fats, chia, flaxseed, salmon, sardines, even canned ones, can be a good source of naturally anti-inflammatory foods that also help reduce pain. The second thing you can do is improve circulation and daily movement, right? Being less still, less sedentary is very important because we know that when we stay active in our daily lives, it improves circulation, reduces muscle stiffness, increases range of motion, and signals to the body that that muscle needs to be maintained. The more we use the muscle, the more the body realizes it's important and will want to maintain that structure. So staying active is super important in daily life. The third change could be incorporating active recovery. That is, using heat or other methods that help improve blood flow and relax the muscles, such as massage, to reduce that feeling of stiffness. This can include things like a warm bath, a warm compress, or similar approaches. A routine of muscle relaxation tends to greatly reduce pain in people who suffer from chronic muscle pain. That can be an option, and you can even give yourself a self-massage to loosen up the muscles and feel a bit more relief in that sense. Now, I want to know what you would put into practice. So regarding muscle pain, what bothers you the most? Which muscle hurts the most in your daily routine? I would love to see your comment. Remember to like the video because that's really important to me. And share it with anyone you know who needs it and suffers a lot from muscle pain. Let's expand this chain of kindness. That's what I want here with the channel. See you next time. Bye.